Sorry guys, I'm trying to see my battery. My phone's acting stupid. But as you can probably hear, the grinding does get quieter. Actually, I realize it goes loud, quiet, loud, quiet. I don't know. I don't know if it's just the loose pulley, the transmission, etc. But it washes and spins, and it does. Now it spins at its full speed. It doesn't throw OOB codes anymore. So as long as she works, it doesn't catastrophically fail, we'll be fine with it. We're just, you know what? We're gonna go GE from now on. I'm done with Whirlpool, man. They are stupidly unreliable, and you know their control board problems. GE doesn't usually have pressure sensor board. I mean, they have pressure sensors on them. Even though I didn't select auto, but GE's most common problems are probably belt and pump problems, but those aren't really expensive at all. They're maybe like $20, or the pump is like $35. GE parts are like 3 times less expensive than Whirlpool parts, and that's another reason we went with GE. Because even if a part does fail, I mean, the fucking transmission only costs, what, $190 compared to a Whirlpool that costs like $400? That's quite the difference. So the most expensive part on this machine is probably the transmission, and that's only $190. Now it depends how, you know, wealthy you are. We're not the most wealthiest of wealthiest, but if we do end up having to replace the transmission, which hopefully not, hopefully it's just a weird noise that goes away eventually. Because right now it's pretty quiet. It's not making the noise, but I don't know, that noise comes and goes. I don't really know what it is. It could be something stuck in between the baskets. I don't really know. It's just a weird rubbing noise mostly. It's not a full-on grinding, so it's something we can live with. Especially with this dry running, you can barely hear the machine. Now it's doing its little twist. We like this machine though. It does perform really well, especially with that dual action agitator compared to our other machine that didn't have a single style agitator. Although it was disguised to look like a dual action, even though it wasn't. Yeah, no, we like this machine. It does wash pretty well. It has multiple cycles, multiple options. I really can't complain much about it except for the little noise it makes them wash. But otherwise, it's a really solid machine. And these are really simple to repair and stuff. And like I said, the parts aren't expensive. Even the control boards, I mean, yeah, another expensive part's a control board, but hopefully that won't fail. Usually it's not control boards that fail on these. Usually it's the belt or pump most of the time, so, or 30% time in gear case as well, but 75% of the time it's usually a belt slippage problem, because the belt is just full of grease and worn and it has a lot of deflection on it, or the pump has just been used a lot and the little impeller seizes up and doesn't spin anymore. So we didn't go with a stator drive machine because I've heard those can have problems. We just went with a normal belt drive. It works fine. This thing is a max spin of 700. It's plenty to get your clothes nice and wrung out, especially with the spin time control over here. Normal cycle on normal spin time does like a 12-minute spin. It's kind of insane. If you went to max, you could do a 23-minute spin, which I don't want to do because that will probably put a lot of stress on the motor. And these motors can only run so long before they overheat. I'll shut up now and let you guys enjoy the last 24 minutes of the cycle. Talk about shaky over here. Might not show it as well on camera, but it's pretty shaky. I mean, the flashlight should show it at least. But as you can see, it's spinning full speed. So this is 700 RPM. So it's a selection. But that's pretty. Like I said, that's pretty fast. In reality, it has like 7 minutes on the clock because it stopped spinning around 3 minutes. All right. Well, enjoy the spin. So I don't know if you guys remember when I said the beep is shortened. I think it's only when the sound is on low. So right now it's on low, that's medium, that's high. So I'm going to keep it on low and just see if it doesn't make the... Because I think low puts in some quiet mode so it doesn't make that extended... I can't do it. My voice just cracks. You know what I mean though, like on the bulky cycle, when the cycle ended it went... Like it kept going. So I don't know if level 1 is some like... Or volume 1 is some quiet mode to not make it do that, but... I put in a quick wash and I had the sound set to low and it didn't make the little extended long beep at the end. It just made the little quick jingle jangle and then finished or stopped making noise. So I'll turn the dryer off real quick so you can hear it. That was a stupid, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there was just a stupid fly that went across. Yeah, no, this machine's really good. And I don't know why all of a sudden, I mean, I did reset the control board. I don't know why it all of a sudden fixed itself and stopped throwing out of balance codes. I mean, there was nothing in here and it threw the code. So I was like, yeah, that's not right. It's two problems. Well, hold on, it's about to end. We'll see what it does. I have a feeling it won't make the extended beep. Yeah, so you hear that little beep at the end? It didn't go at the end. It just made the little jingle, like most GEs. So, I think level 1 keeps it in some quiet mode. I don't know, but let's see. I'll turn the dryer back on. It was only on cooldown, but I'll still do it. Okay. Let me put this up here. This thing probably has full bars. Yeah, it's on the low setting, so it shouldn't be using much energy. Come on. Thank you. Alright, let's take a look at these towels. Yeah, these are just little hair grabbers. So it grabs all the hair while it's watching it. I mean, there's hair in this thing. Oh, those are spun out. Wow. These are just spun out like crazy. That stupid spray jet gets it all wet though. I don't like that. Oh, well. That's crazy. Oh my god, these are like dry nearly. Holy cow. So that's why it's important that this thing goes at its full speed. Because if it... The thing is when it starts blinking the spin light, that means it's detected an off-balance load. Most of the times that's not the problem. Sometimes, yeah, it is, but most of the time it's either because of a belt slippage or the speed sensor is bad. Because the speed sensor detects like RPMs going wacky, it'll just detect that there maybe is an imbalance in the load, so it'll throw an OOB code. Which I don't know why mine did that, but it did. Most of the time it's because the belt, there's some grease that comes with the belt that often gets on the pulley and just all over the place. And once there's enough grease on that pulley, it can make the belt slip. So that slippage can kind of torque the motor like that sometimes, and it can think it's off balance, but it's not. In reality, it's most of the time just the belt that either just needs cleaning or just needs to be replaced. If it needs clean, you'll know if it needs to be replaced if, one, the belt, you can put it on really easy, because it should be really tight on the pulley. If you can just slide it on there, it's guaranteed to be not tight anymore. And another thing to check is if you can squeeze the sides of the belt, and if there's a lot of like play and deflection in the belt, it's bad. You need to change it or swap it out, because that will cause errors as well. But mine was brand new and it was throwing those codes. I was like, yeah, that's not right. So what I did is I went in diagnostic mode, which you guys can go check out on my channel, because I did post a short on the diagnostic mode and how to enter it. I put a step-by-step directions in the description. But overall, I'm really pleased with this machine. Besides the little rubbing noise it makes in the wash, I mean, it's starting to get quieter, I'm not gonna lie. It's not as bad as it was, like, what, 4 days ago? Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what the noise is, but I'm really hoping it's not the gear case because it's a brand new machine for crying out loud. There's not really play anymore like there was. Yeah, this is normal. I'm talking like the plate itself would move up. But no, man, this went out really good. I got these towels. I mean, the ones on the metal cage, because the cage is still wet, those are a little damp. But the ones that are on the outside, I mean, damn, I see dry spots on them, for fuck's sakes. So, yeah, these things spin really fast. And they like you saw, it spanned for like, what, 12 minutes? Maybe, no, it spanned for like 7 minutes on full speed, which is plenty enough. My Amano spun, well, I don't know, because it doesn't have a timer on it, but I think it usually spins for 4 minutes on high speed with the pump on, and then it shuts the pump off for a few. But yeah, we're just done with Whirlpool. We replaced the board, and it wasn't, we made sure everything was plugged in, and it would try to shift, but then it would try to spin at the same time when the shifter was in the middle of a shift, so it started to grind the gears. And I made sure every cable was connected, and it was. So that's another reason we got rid of the machine. And we have sent that board back. Probably defective. We checked it was the right part number, so that wasn't the problem. And then, yeah, we found out that the transmission was starting to leak. Not terribly, but we could see some black slinged oil around. So, that sucks, but this machine is better, honestly. It has more features I like. Not too... I mean, yes, the entire board up here can fail. Sorry if there's a glare. This UI board can fail, yes, and even the main control can fail, but most of the issues you'll run into on GEs is belt and pump. Guaranteed. Those are just the most common problems on these. Or sometimes a gear case, yes, that can be a problem too. But most of the time it's just a belt and pump that needs change every time you bring it. They're in the shop. The technician I mean, you guys probably know him if you're in the appliance community. LA appliance guy. He works on GEs all the time, and every time like 80% of the time he gets a GE, it's either a bad pump or a bad belt. So. Yeah, I'm pleased with this machine, but that's enough yapping. You guys saw the cycle. You guys actually saw the full speed on the cycle too. So I'll be done talking. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. See you later, y'all.